I will now move to Julian Popov from the European Climate Foundation, who is going to address the regional dimension of Southeastern Europe. This is portrayed as being a very disconnected region, and to this extent one that poses quite significant challenges in terms of energy security. Do you think this is going to be a test case for the energy union?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll say a few things about Southeast Europe, but Arno will address the issue of regionalization in the energy union. Yesterday, Andrei asked us to be outrageous in our statements here. I would advise to be more cautious, because 2 years ago, Bucharest Forum was the first public forum where the idea of Southeast Europe energy cooperation in the framework of a European energy policy was mentioned and discussed. So 2 years later, we have Southeast Europe as absolutely the main region in the energy union communication. This is the most emphasized region. Last week, the European Parliament came with a draft report which emphasizes again the importance of Southeast Europe. There is a high-level group on gas interconnectivity established. So be careful, things that are said here 2-3 years later become reality. So having said that, I want to make one clarification about the energy union. Not so much what energy union is, but what it is not. I mean, energy union is not exactly about energy, and certainly it's not a union. So the energy union is a process. So if you ask anybody who are the members of the energy union, nobody can tell you, because there's no document which says, well, these 5 countries or these 28 countries are the members of the energy union. So at the moment there is an open process that is going somewhere. The regionalization and the Southeast Europe are probably the only new things in this energy union. So the energy union is nothing new. It's a process that has started quite a long time ago. But it was nicely branded because of the Ukrainian crisis. When we talk about the energy union, I would like to mention one other thing that is quite interesting. The energy union was triggered by an external crisis. The idea for the energy union was launched in order to address an external risk. The one thing that is completely missing from the energy union process is the external dimension. So this is a very interesting paradox, that what is happening in the energy union debate is something completely different from what the energy union was thought about. So, and since Arno will talk about the regionalization, I would like to look into 2 other challenges in the energy union. One is this external challenge. The external challenge is basically for us to push the energy union process in the direction which will cover the issues of external relations of the European Union on energy issues. One thing that I'm very pleased that the European Parliament raised last week, this issue in its report on interconnectivity, is that Western Balkans and Turkey have to be properly and fully included in the process of the energy union. Being in Romania, of course, I will mention, but this is not just a gesture, firmly believe that Moldova has to be a very strong part of this process as well. Not as some kind of an external client of an energy union that we will arrange and organize here and then we'll go to Moldova or to Western Balkans, but it has to be involved in the process. Same goes, of course, for Ukraine. So the energy union needs this external dimension, and it's not just developing the diplomacy. Diplomacy is a very important part, but also the formation of the energy union should include external to EU partners. I mean, that's my, let's say, outrageous view. We'll see in 2 years' time what will happen. In terms of the internal challenge, and this is very much focused on the Southeast Europe because it's quite visible, the energy union and all the issues that are part of this process are facing one interesting challenge that I would like to mention, and this is the declining energy use. We're very often talking about grand projects, big projects, and sorry, it wasn't me. And as we heard from the fantastic presentation of Mr. Yuga, these projects could be incredibly expensive and difficult and complicated and risky. But we very rarely think about the demand side. And the reality is that gas use in Europe is declining. And now we are at the level of 2000, and there are two counter-arguments to that: the economic crisis that triggered that, and the growth of coal. But none of these arguments are serious enough, because they cannot explain the level of gas use that is now at the level of year 2000. But there are two other things that are happening. One is that the renewable energy got to the tipping point of basically cost conversions with the conventional energy. Now, even if we start withdrawing the subsidies, it will go and go and go, and the cost will decline. The other thing, especially about gas, that's very relevant, is the significant advances of the energy efficiency policies in the European Union specifically. And these policies are building up. So they're policies, they're very bureaucratic, incredibly boring. They're about the light bulbs and about hoovers and about, I don't know what, vacuum cleaners and so on. So we get irritated by that. But the cumulative effect of them is vast. In 3 years' time, the European Union will adopt the so-called near zero energy building standard. The near zero energy building standard for all new buildings, so every single new building in a few years' time will have to comply with the near zero energy building standard. It's a complicated issue, but a very simple definition of near zero energy building standard is a building that does not need gas, or might need a little bit. But basically, it's a building without gas. So take the entire new building stock out of the gas market. Then the new zero energy building standard will spill over into the retrofit of buildings. So there will be more and more new buildings that will not need gas. And then there is another thing, another trend, and this is the electrification of the buildings. So we very wrongly think that electricity is more expensive than gas. Well, it is not in terms of heating, in terms of everything that gas is supposed to do. It's not that the electricity is expensive, it's the inefficiency of appliances, of heating and so on, and buildings are expensive. So we have this third trend of moving from gas to electricity. So the gas will have quite a tough time. That doesn't mean that gas will die, because if we have a very strong shift from coal to gas, then it might come back, or if transport sector develops more rapid gasification. But that will not happen if we have a natural change from gas to coal, if we wait the coal power plant to die and then replace it to gas. because the natural debt of coal power plant will be replaced by renewables and energy efficiency. And this is just a costing. This is not my sort of a climate fantasy working here. So I think this is the internal challenge that we have to address in the energy policy and also in the energy security, because we usually see energy security very much as somebody will cut the gas supply or cut the electricity supply. But we also might have an energy security problem related to excess, a proliferation of production. And Bulgaria and Romania are very typical countries of countries with huge overcapacity of electricity. And we're playing each other various tricks to block each other in markets and so on. I mean, that's for a conversation out of the room, but that's what's happening. So I think these are issues that we will have to address. And coming back to Southeast Europe, I would also like to make one division of Southeast Europe that is very important. We have in Southeast Europe gas countries and we have electricity countries. Romania is a gas country, it has infrastructure for gas and so on. Turkey is a gas country, maybe not very happy with that because it has to buy it from outside, but it is. But Bulgaria is not a gas country, is not going to become. Bulgaria is dependent 100%, almost 100% on gas supply from Russia. But that's only 10-12% of the energy use in the country. Greece is not a gas country. Western Balkans, the countries are not gas countries, and they're not going to become because gas will not be competitive. So I think these are the energy union challenges and the regional challenges for the region here, which I see. Thank you.